Do you want to know what the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval letter is? Have you ever even heard of a pre-commitment? These are major questions right now in the lending environment. Check out this week's episode of Tom's Take. We're going to talk about what each one means and why it's important in the transaction. I'm Tom Toole. Welcome to Tom's Take. This week, a very lending-centric topic and also very tactical one for home buyers that are out there with understanding the difference between a pre-qualification, a pre-approval, and a pre-commitment. The third one you may not have even heard of. So let's start by explaining each one of these, and then we'll get into how you can use them to your advantage in a transaction if you're a buyer, and what you should be looking for as a seller. So a pre-qualification really indicates there's a good chance you'll get the loan. This is what happens over the initial conversation over the phone. The lender will get information about assets, income, they'll talk about prices. There's a good chance you'll qualify, but it is not as thorough as the pre-approval. So the difference here is that the pre-approval involves documentation, meaning tax returns, W-2s, bank statements, and getting your credit pulled, a hard inquiry that's going to show what the borrower owes compared to existing debt amounts, any late payments, and it'll give you the 3 credit scores from the credit reporting bureaus that are out there. So you can see the pre-qualification is a lot more thorough and a lot more pertinent. Before we get into what the pre-commitment is, if you're a seller out there right now, I would only be looking at pre-approval letters, period. A lot of times lenders will interchange pre-qualified versus pre-approved, and from the vernacular, from the definition, they're synonymous. However, in the actual lending environment, we only recommend that our sellers at our team look at pre-approval letters, and we tell all our buyers it's critical for you to get pre-approved. So hopefully you can see what the difference is here. If you're a buyer, I would go right to the pre-approval. If you're going out there trying to look for property, it's going to be a lot more concrete, a lot more serious, and show that you can get the loan. Now, a pre-commitment is something that a couple of our lenders that we use at our team will issue, meaning they will take it one step further than the pre-approval. So besides getting all the documents and pulling credit, the lender will run the entire loan application through the underwriting department. Those are the people that are like an auditor at an accounting firm, where they will vet all the documents, vet all the bank statements, vet all the information, and make sure they're comfortable issuing the loan. So it's what happens between the pre-approval versus the final approval process, where someone actually gets their loan funded at settlement. So it has all those conditions removed with the exception of the appraisal. The appraisal is something that is property specific, so until you have a home that you've selected and you're buying that property, you cannot get the appraisal done, obviously. So the pre-commitment, if you're a buyer out there right now and you're in a competitive situation time after time, getting a pre-commitment is a great way to make your offer pretty close to the equivalent of cash. Obviously, things can go wrong at the end. You lose your job. There's a death in the family, a death of one of the borrowers. Those are crazy scenarios, but they happen. The pre-commitment will eliminate everything except those doomsday scenarios, so your loan gets approved. So if you're a buyer or a borrower, get the pre-commitment. If you're out there looking, make sure you're pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. And if you're a seller, I would only be looking at pre-approved buyers and only be looking at pre-approval letters when I am vetting offers. So hopefully you found all this helpful. I know it was very technical, very lending specific. You've got questions, ping us on social. You know where to get us. Thanks for checking out Tom's Take this week. We'll be back next week with more great content. Thanks for watching.